Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're episode number 129. Today is April 23rd. My name is Craig Perales, and joining me in his triumphant return, Mandrew Montame.
Back from the dead, like some of these other games we're going to talk about later. But thank you to anyone who wished me better. I greatly appreciate it.
Excellent. Glad to have you back with us, my man. So, if you guys are watching the YouTube show, make sure you jump down, hit like, leave us a comment, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And if you can, hit that share button and get it to as many eyes as possible. If you guys are interested in following us on any of our social medias, you can check out our Linktree link in the description, which will take you to our Facebook, our Instagram, and our Twitter. And if you guys are listening to the audio-only version of the podcast, make sure you check out Anchor, which is the home for Last Call Gaming, and from there it can redirect you to any other podcast source. And if you're checking it out on the audio feeds, do us a favor and leave us a kind review, because we're always trying to get the algorithm up.
All about that algorithm. Chasing it,
as they say. So, as you guys know, we like to have drinks on the show. So if you're watching at home, drink along with us. This is submitted from Jesse K, and this is the Voodoo Ranger Juicy Haze IPA. This is from Beer Advocate, where it gets a score of 88, which they consider to be very good. It's from the New Belgium Brewing Company from Colorado, United States. It's an IPA New England, sitting at a heavyweight 7.5%er, and it is in active rotation. Notes are: packed with bright tropical aromas and brilliant citrusy flavors, this unfiltered IPA wraps up with a pleasantly smooth finish. So, what are your initial thoughts? Now that you're back in the seat and your taste buds are fully alive, what do you think?
I'm pretty sure I shouldn't be drinking, but I am. But I actually really like it. I think it tastes really good. I feel like Voodoo Ranger, they have like a lot of different ones. We've had a bunch of different ones on the show. I don't know that we've ever really had a bad one, but every time I see their name, I always think of the Lone Ranger.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, the Lone Ranger.
But there's three of you.
Yeah, well, you're not exactly lone. Shouldn't you be the three Rangers? You lost me. Yeah, I'm with you. The Voodoo Ranger, I think we've had like, what, 2, 3, 4 of them on now?
A couple different ones, yeah. They have like a lot of different variety, enough to where when I was going to look at them, they have like one of those boxes where it's got like the variety.
6 mix pack?
Yeah, the mixers.
I'm pretty sure we haven't done the Juicy Haze.
I don't
if
think
we have, it hasn't been on the show. I like that they have that same theme. It's like the same little dude just with like a new hat, so you know that it's the different kind of can. But that 7.5 is what I'm worried about, because the taste is surprisingly nice. And I'm kind of like Geno, that the Haze IPAs can kind of sneak up on you, but this one surprisingly tastes, extremely well. I do get the brilliant citrusy flavors, so I'm just curious what it's going to be like after the show once these 7.5s kick in.
I'm just glad it doesn't have like, sometimes when you drink some of those heavier like IPAs, it has like that really strong like bite aftertaste that tails like 3 or 4 seconds later.
You dropping hints with that tails?
No, I wasn't, but that works out. But no, it's actually really, really good so far. I'm liking it.
Yeah, so you guys, if you want to leave a suggestion for a beer that we can drink on the show, and we do have suggestions in the backlog, so if you've submitted one, don't worry, we will get to it. But if you want to submit one for us, email us at lastcallproductions@gmail.com. Send them to any of my social medias at Craig Perales, or if you're watching on YouTube, jump down in the comments below and leave your recommendation. So, before we get to our main story, guys, we like to do What Are You Up To?, where we take a second to talk about anything we've been playing, anything we've been watching, anything we've got planned. So,
what are you up to?
What am I up to? So, besides our main topic, which you can tell from the thumbnail what we're going to get into, not too much, mainly kind of rewatching a couple shows, catching up with shows, still watching Moon Knight, still watching Halo. But I did want to point out, if any of you guys were watching Young Justice Season 4 on HBO Max, it has resumed after its hiatus. It was on a break for a little while, and I gotta say, I'm a big fan of Young Justice Season 1. You've watched Young Justice Season 1, right?
Season 1 and 2, I think.
Okay. I was a big fan of the show. It had all the potential in the world. Unfortunately, I think the quality has slowly been declining. The episodes in this season are kind of hit or miss, and for me, it may be somebody else is watching it and they love every episode, but
I stopped watching it when they moved it over to like before it was HBO Max, but when they had like the DC pass or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And when they resumed it, that's when I because I didn't buy that pass, and then I just haven't ever gone back and watched it. I heard it wasn't as good as it was before.
Yeah, now it's on HBO Max, but some of these episodes go into like these heavy relationship things, and then it goes into like comic book ass kicking and stuff like that. So I'm really just turned off when I have to watch this, like the lame stuff with like Beast Boy, who's somebody I'm not even a big, this version of Beast Boy that I'm not even a big fan of. So
Garth?
Yeah, this version of Garth. I like him. I love him in Teen Titans like Go and things like that. I love that version. This one, he's kind of just this depressed, I don't know, in my mind, a loser. And so some of these episodes like...
So me.
Yeah, but I like you though. So some of these episodes kind of like revolve around that, and then other episodes are like when it gets into Vandal Savage and Dr. Fate and Clarion, I'm like, okay, cool. That's what I want to see. So it's a little bit torn for me, but check it out. It has resumed if you guys were watching it. As far as what I've been playing, still playing Tiny Tina's with Geno. Nothing new there. I did recently beat Hitman 3, which is on the Game Pass. I completely forgot about it. Yeah, I put it down when Horizon Forbidden West came out, and I was looking at it the other day because I want to start Ghostwire Tokyo on PS5, but I'm like, what do I need to clean up before I jump over there? And I had like 2 missions left on Hitman 3, and I gotta say, it was a lot of fun playing a good stealth game, and there's a lot to do. There's a lot of replayability and challenges in that game, so I highly recommend, if you've got the Game Pass and you're not looking to spend money on it, to go check it out. I can see why people want it, put it as their game of the year. I don't necessarily know if it would have made my game of the year, but I've also started Life is Strange 3 on the Game Pass. I'm not too far into that, so I'll have more on that next week. Hopefully I'll probably be done with it by the time we do next week's episode, but that's all I'm up to. What do you got going on?
I don't remember if I'd mentioned it before because it's been a little bit, but I know
it's been a while.
I think that I had mentioned that I beat Elden Ring last time on the show, or I was about to beat it, but I did actually go through and 100% it. And since then, after that, of course, is when I got sick for a while. But I've kind of been in like a game depression, almost, that like I beat this amazing fucking game. I can't see anything beating it as my game of the year. There's just like, well, what now? Like, I don't really want to. It's
probably in your top 3 of all time, though.
Yeah, I honestly would probably put it in like my top 5 for sure. That I'm just like, well, what now? Like, what do I do now? I don't really want to play anything else. I kind of just want to keep playing this and just doing more and more. And just I've been watching tons of videos, lore videos, and everything on it. I'm just obsessed with it. That I'm just like, dude, it sucks because, of course, I do the show that I have to move on. So
we'll get you out of that slump.
I started playing it, and I haven't picked it back up as much yet, but I did start playing that Lego Star Wars. Actually, I really like it a lot so far. I feel like there's way too much to do, though, that it's almost like that Ubisoft route, because I know you and me played together on the mic for like an hour or two, and it just felt like there was so much to do, which is cool if you're into that. Right now, I'm kind of more just looking for something that's like, you know, let me just go A to B, B to C, C to D, and then whatever. You know, something a little bit easier and fast to kind of get me out of the funk, because the last game, I forgot what it was that I was in that like gaming rut because I had beaten something that was so good that I was just like, I don't feel like playing anything else. But Spyro the Dragon, because it was just so easy and fun and just like lighthearted, that was the game for me, that I'm hoping once I pick up a little bit more Lego, that's going to be it for me. As far as watching anything, I kind of picked up Daredevil again because I never really finished it.
Thank God.
And I loved it before. I don't know what my deal is. I make it through some shows and then I just realize I'm like, there's this much left. I don't know if I want to keep watching. Like
6 more episodes, hour apiece.
But after seeing how many, because I have like 50 episodes left of Vikings that surprised me. I was like, all right, well, I think I might be out on that for now. What's shorter? I'm going to go back to Daredevil.
Yeah, I'll do 6 more episodes of Daredevil.
But the other thing is I've been watching the Batman like every other few days, and I'll just pick it up like right where I left it off. Yeah.
The 3-hour movie?
Yeah, so I just watch it like is where I'm picking it up at. But so far, I think since it's been on HBO Max, I've watched it like 3 times all together in its entirety. But again, I'm just picking it up like some days I'll watch it for 30 minutes. Other days I'm just sitting there for an hour while I'm on my phone doing whatever. I really love this movie a lot. It's just one of those ones I put on in the background and I just sit there and fuck around before bed. So
nice, man, nice, good stuff. So guys, if there's anything you're up to, let us know what you're playing. Let us know what you've been watching. Let us know if there's any recommendations. Give Andrew a game. Get him out of his rut. If you've got something that Andrew could really sink his teeth into. I've been thinking of getting a hard copy of the Kirby game on Switch and just give it to you. You play it, me play it, because that is something I do want to check out.
I wanted to pick that up too.
So
unfortunately, Elden Ring kind of trumped that for a while.
Maybe you can start doing some speedruns. So guys, we're gonna get into our main story. Andrew and I love it when we can get a chance to talk about things that aren't just video games, but at least stay video game adjacent. And the main thing we want to talk about today is the fact that the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie has officially came out. I kind of wanted to tackle it in three different departments, and we can stay on each topic for as little or as long as you want. We don't need to really kind of focus on it for any longer than it has to be. But I wanted to look at the advertisement that the movie had coming out. I wanted to look at the financial standings that it's been doing in its opening weekend and its run right now. And then I wanted to kind of talk about at the end our overall impressions and rating of the game. Or of the movie. So, and we're going to do our best to not do any spoilers. And when it comes to the part where we talk about our impressions of the movie, I'll kind of remind it, throw up the flag again if you guys don't want anything spoiled for you, or what you could consider a spoiler. But how's that sound? We can kind of tackle those three things and just give our overall impressions of it.
Yeah, but before we start with the movie, because I have something small that I kind of want to talk about.
Hey, it's your show, baby. Do whatever you want.
So before you get to that, go ahead and throw it to me.
The main thing I wanted to get into was the poster that they did with that throwback, with the big fat number 2, Sonic and Tails in front of it, Dr. Robotnik behind it, was like a perfect homage to the old school Sega Genesis or the original Mega Drive Sonic the Hedgehog 2 artwork for the box. When you saw that, what did you think? Especially that they even got like the checkered, the checkeredness, in like the side of the 2. I thought that was one of the best posters I've ever seen.
As soon as I seen it too, yeah, I instantly thought the same thing. I was like, damn, that's like really cool. That's a poster I would hang on my wall.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, actually, you know what? I haven't hung up a poster in my wall that's based on a movie in years. But if we could find a good copy of that, actually, that'd be kind of cool to like put up in the game room.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, okay, cool. Hopefully, and to a degree, it does. When the movie comes out, it keeps that fundamental, like, all right, this shows you have some understanding of the game. You're aware of the game. You're not just making whatever. It's like a cash grab. Obviously, you went out of your way to make this, and this is so dope that hopefully that translates into the movie, too, that you understand what Sonic and Pals is.
Yeah, and I just super appreciate it, because obviously Sega took a big page on Paramount from listening to the fans. I mean, obviously, when they redid Sonic's look from the first one, that's them listening to the fans. Them throwing this poster out there was literally just like, hey, fans, this one's for you. So I love the callback. And the second thing I want to talk about the advertisement, which we'd have to discuss, is the trailers. I thought the trailers were great. I love the look of Robotnik that they're kind of showing throughout the trailers. I love that when you finally get to see Knuckles, and in the trailer when he's like, Sonic's like, well, you can't steal my power, and then Knuckles is just like, what makes you think I need your power? Yeah. I was like, God damn, Knuckles. So, I don't know, the way they were able to just kind of, because I think there's 3 trailers that they did, I instantly was just like, dude, this is the Sonic movie that I've been waiting for. So what were your thoughts of the trailers throughout?
No, same thing. It totally caught me. They showed off the most interesting parts, and again, we'll kind of get into like what is and is not great about this movie, but they totally captured the spirit in the trailers, and again, to a degree, they capture that in the movie, obviously, because it's there. It's just some of the other things I think take away from it that obviously I understand why it's not in the trailer, but it's like, no, what they showed off in the trailers, I'm like, dude, this looks great. Like, this looks super dope. This looks like the Sonic like movie that I'm wanting. As much as I like the first one, this I thought looked better.
Yeah, because I was watching a movie with my dad in theaters, and the Sonic 2 trailer was playing, and he's like, oh, they're making a Sonic movie? I'm like, dude, this is number 2, man. Like, you gotta watch number 1 so you can get ready to watch number 2. So yeah, then me and him went and saw it the other day, and we'll have our thoughts here in a second. But that was it for advertisement, unless there's anything else you want to add.
No.
Okay, so I want to get into the financial standings that these movies actually going through here, and I had myself a little something pulled up here.
I heard it did pretty well, which is good, or at least well enough.
Yeah, it had a really good opening weekend. Not that it was really going against anything that was gonna knock it out of the box. It's going against Fantastic Beasts number 3, which isn't doing that great, but this actually has set I think 2 records so far for opening weekend. So let me read this real quick for you guys, and this comes, let me get these burps out of the way, from Variety, and this goes, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 powered to $71 million in its domestic box office debut, a hopeful indication that family audiences are feeling better about returning to the movie theaters. In taking the number 1 spot, Paramount's kid-friendly film towered over Sony's Marvel adaptation Morbius and Universal's Michael Bay action-adventure Ambulance, which debuted in 4th place with a disappointing $8.7 million.
Ugh.
That hurts, man.
That movie actually looked kind of interesting, too.
I wanted to see it. Ticket sales for Sonic the Hedgehog 2 set a new high watermark for video game adaptations, supplanting the opening weekend record established by its predecessor, 2020's Sonic the Hedgehog. The first movie collected $58 million in its first 3 days of release and ended the President's Day holiday weekend with a mighty $70 million. So it definitely has a very strong opening. So what I wanted to point out is actually what it was able to do in the box office. And there's a really cool site you guys can check out. It's called thenumbers.com. You can essentially type in a movie and it'll show you its ranking on where it stands in certain categories. So what Sonic 2 actually was number 1 in was the top based on game weekend domestic. It took the number 1 spot at 72.1 million, and it was number 1 for top based on game domestic at 26.8 million. So those were the two records it was actually able to hold. The other thing I wanted to kind of point out is what it's doing worldwide. So I was actually, let me refresh this right now and see if it updates. So as of today, domestically, it's at, let me back up for a second. The budget for this movie, and it came out on April 8th, was $110 million. The domestic that it's already made is $145 million. The international that it's made is $142 million, making its worldwide debut at $287.8 million. So they've got to be happy. I mean, they're making more of these movies. This thing is already clearing its budget as its runtime. It's only been out for 16 days. So Andrew, is there even a doubt in your mind that we're going to see more Sonic movies? I know they've talked about expanding the Sonic world, and on the last episode we talked about Jim Carrey may or may not be returning to film, but there's no doubt that they're not making at least a 3 or a Sonic something.
Yeah, no, they're for sure doing it, especially with the way they like kind of hint at the ending too. But Variety, if you want to hire me, I could be your man on the streets, because I can tell you that there are families returning to the theaters, because they were talking the whole fucking time and I wanted to get up and punch all these little kids in the head, because it wasn't just as bad that they were talking, but then the parents were talking to each other too while they're like on their phones and like just being super loud. I'm like, oh my god, dude, I have not had a bad movie experience in a while until I went and seen this, and I was like, dude, nobody in that theater would shut the hell up.
It's like a double-edged sword. I like a packed crowd if nobody fucking talks. I don't mind crunching popcorn. I don't mind people shifting in their seats. I don't mind hearing the electric
candy or anything.
I don't
like
mind
that.
hearing the electric motor of your recliner go up or down.
That's fine.
But when kids start
when anyone starts talking,
it bugs me. So when me and my dad got to go watch it, it was a long ass line, and I was like, God damn it, this is gonna be like Uncharted, and it's gonna be sold out. And I'm like, and it was a lot of senior citizens because we're hitting that 125 special. So I'm like, who the fuck is here watching Sonic the Hedgehog?
The movie's 125.
No, the time. 125 in the afternoon. So when we get to it, I start hearing these guys are all talking about Father Stew, which is the Mark Wahlberg movie.
Yeah.
So everyone in that line was... So when I go in there, there's only about maybe 10 people. So I was like, okay, thank God. So I didn't have any obnoxious people in there, but how packed was your crowd? And where did you go? Because I went to the Riverside. You go to the Obby?
I went to the Obby, and there was about maybe like 15 people in there, counting us.
Oh, so you having noise with that small of a crowd?
Yeah, because they're just talking the whole time, dude. I hated it.
That's unfortunate because that is one thing I just cannot stand. So,
dude, the girl literally behind me. So here's me sitting here. Here's my chair. She put her bare ass feet over the fucking chair that I could see them out of my peripheral vision. Those feet. I was ready to just like start tickling them or something.
Do you remember? And I think it's Rocko's Modern Life, because instead of being like the headless horseman, it was like the guy that lost his foot, and the guy that chases Rocko was like he's just a foot.
Oh, yeah.
And
doesn't he have like a face on the bottom?
And at the end, they're all taking a picture, and they're like, it's like, if we're all in it, then who's taking the picture?
Yeah, I remember that.
Dude, that reminds me of that. But I do want to point out, guys, because this is kind of on the rise. So there's another website. Actually, no, it's the same one, thenumbers.com. And what I pulled up was a list of all the video game movies and what's in the running. So Sonic the Hedgehog 2 right now is in the... Let me see. So right now it's at 287. So the thing that's probably popping up if you guys are watching the YouTube shows Sonic in 15th place. After the refreshing the box office at its 2.8, it would be in the 11th spot, edging out Tomb Raider at the moment and just under Resident Evil Afterlife, if you guys can see that, which makes it almost right behind Sonic the Hedgehog 1. So this new movie franchise that they have has 2 movies in the video game.
I can't believe Rampage is that high.
Rampage is up there. Well, I mean, it's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. What are you going to do against Mr. Hollywood? But this new franchise for being on a IP that's fairly old. You'd have to be, our age to be remembering the Sega Genesis. So
my nephew loves Sonic for some reason.
Yeah, but how was he introduced to it? Playing a game or watching the movie?
Maybe from a game.
From who? You?
I don't know. I just know that he loves Sonic, and I took him to go see the first one.
Excellent. Well, yes, you got to pass it down through family values. But if this thing is able to keep going, because it's at 280 something. There's no doubt in my mind that it's going to pass the original Sonic at 304.
For sure.
So once it does, there's not that much more to pass it that would get it into like the top 7 or 8. So it's safe to say that Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be one of the best video game franchises and the most successful. But, is that surprising to you at all? Do you find this kind of odd, or did you think Sonic is moving in such a great trajectory that this was almost inevitable?
I think that it was going to do well. But I definitely, unless it's like a shit show, can see that Super Mario movie they've been talking about trouncing this, though, once that comes out.
But that's just big name title, though. Sonic, I think a lot of people had doubt.
No, that's why it's Sonic the underdog.
So many people already know Mario. It's gonna get that traffic.
No, they're doing great. I hope they pass the shitty Resident Evil movies.
Well, dude, and I like you brought that up because that's the thing that I'm most curious about. Resident Evil Afterlife is number 10, and Resident Evil the final chapter is number 7. So technically speaking, Resident Evil so far is the best video game franchise of all time, having 2 movies in the top 15.
Yeah, no, I think if you
actually the top 15, Resident Evil Retribution still makes that cut too.
Yeah, I was gonna say those movies did extremely well because they're for like that popcorn like flick crowd. Like I hate those movies. I like the first 2 and that's it.
So Sonic the Hedgehog is moving in a financial successful way. This movie is making them money. So yeah, there's no reason why they shouldn't be making any more of these. But the other thing I kind of wanted to point out while we're still on the financial topic is that Jim Carrey, this is pretty good for him as well. Sonic 2 makes this his highest box office weekend opening of all time. So if you guys are watching the YouTube, you guys can see this, but if you guys are listening to the audio, Sonic 2 is his number 1 at the 72.1 mil. Number 2 is Bruce Almighty for 67.9 mil. Number 3 is Sonic 1 at 58 mil. The Grinch at number 4 for 55 mil, and Batman Forever. So I don't know how that's still on the list.
I figured the Grinch would have been number 1.
52.7 mil. So even if this is Jim Carrey's last hoorah at being a movie star,
I hope not.
Then I like that his last movie has been his most successful movie.
Yeah, no, I think that's really cool and really good.
And if you're looking at it, Sonic 1 is in that top 5. So this franchise for him has probably been nothing but obviously beneficial financially, but like every interview I've seen with them is like a lot of fun. Him being able to like bring a new essence and life force into Dr. Robotnik.
I'm gonna say spoiler alert. He's the best part of both these movies.
Nice. Is there anything else you want to tackle for the finances, or did you think we hit them all?
Nah, I thought that was good.
All right. So now let's move into the kind of opinion about the movie. So again, I will say it to you guys again. If up till now you've made it and that's no spoilers, we might say something that you may consider a spoiler. So hands up now. There's going to be timestamps. If you want to just jump to riffs here in a second, then you can jump to that, and that's when we'll stop the conversation. So moving forward.
Pass
it over to you.
Thank you. Before that, I don't remember seeing it in the first one. But the new Sega logo, the way they show off their properties and stuff is super dope. And I really like when things do that because it gives you a sense of like how like Marvel does it. Marvel's super successful.
I actually like this
DC
better than
has it.
Marvel and DC.
I think actually, this one has been the best one. And maybe it's because it's more gamer related. Yeah. But especially hearing that like Sega.
Yeah, dude, and then the pixels kind of go out and it forms the big overall Sega. Yeah, that was dope. So
that was just my quick little note that I wanted to get before the movie.
Fun to talk about. So let's move into the actual movie and our thoughts on it. So again, no spoilers if we can help it. But I was going to look at this movie tackling either going through the movie or just kind of doing a pros and cons. I think we'll just do the pros and con kind of view. Do you want to go first or do you want to go second? Or do you want me to list off mine and then fill in if there's anything missing?
Let's do that, but let's start with the cons first. Because I feel like I like this movie more than I didn't like it, but
Okay.
the cons are kind of strong. But I don't want to discourage anyone from seeing it because I think you should go out there and make your own opinion. That I thought it was worth it and I did enjoy it. So I'd rather start with the cons and end on a good note.
Okay, so let me start by saying that the movie is already a little bit longer than the first one. This movie clocks in at 2 hours and 2 minutes versus the original one at 1 hour and 39. And I think the hour and 39 is, I mean, again, time doesn't necessarily mean a movie's going to be better or worse, but for a movie like this, a family movie that's made for kids, I like the hour 39 timestamp for the first one versus the second one because there are parts, this movie is longer, and in a second we'll talk I think there's easily things you could have cut.
For sure.
So,
if you were going to do 2 hours of the good stuff, like there is really good stuff in this movie, especially like the ending and the finale, if there was more of that for the 2 hours, I'd be all in. But I know exactly what you're talking about for the 30 minutes that you can cut.
So I do want to say before we get into our pros and cons is that overall the movie's okay. I'll say that. Go see it. It's fun to watch. And if you go see it, if you've got kids to go with or nieces or nephews or a family, it's a family film first and foremost. Because there's parts where I thought some of the comedy was lacking. All the kids in the theater were dying laughing. So definitely go see that with them. So moving into the con, my first one, and I think me and you instantly agreed about this, was every human but Dr. Robotnik, maybe Stone, and maybe Tom, are absolutely useless,
except for the Russian people. I enjoyed that.
Unfunny and unnecessary. They're everything that they do. I forget the name of the dumb cop who tries to kick into.
It's like Wade.
I have them all pulled over here. Yeah, Wade.
It's Wade.
I thought they're all just absolutely useless, and I thought none of that. It takes me out of. Because when you meet Jim Carrey in this movie, right, it picks off right where it left off. He's in the mushroom world, and I'm like, cool, we're going right into and then you meet Knuckles pretty early on. I'm like, dude, let's just stick with this flow. We meet Sonic and Tom and Maddie are going off. I'm like, okay, cool, let's get them out of the way. Let's focus this movie on Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
And it slows this movie down as soon as every other interaction with humans becomes a 10-minute scene that I have to watch. And that was my number one thing. It was just like, I don't want to see this. I don't give a shit about any of these guys.
Yeah, that was my big thing too. I was like, okay, cool, we're getting these guys out of the way. Hopefully it's going to be like a Sonic Tails adventure, whatever's going to happen. Then they're going to come back to the house and what were you up to? Oh, nothing. Here, by the way, this is my new friend Tails. We haven't been doing much or whatever. Something like that, because Sonic is kind of proposed as a child because he's not fully grown yet. The only part that I thought was fine with the humans was with like the Russian people in that cabin, just because I actually thought that was pretty funny.
That scene was, I died.
That was the only good part. The rest of anything else that involves like the human interaction and stuff like that, I'm like, dude, this is not good. Like I don't care for it. It's slowing it down. It's completely just unnecessary to anything else in the plot. Like you totally could have skipped over this and just I don't know, found another way to get from C to D.
Yeah, because what they do, and it shows you in the trailer that there is a wedding, and that's essentially why Tom and Maddie are off. They have to go to this wedding for her sister, who was, in my mind, kind of an annoying character in number one, which I feel like they kind of shoehorned them back into this movie just to bring back these old characters in this new bit. And in my mind, it was just not funny. It was lackluster. It was, you're introducing me to now new characters because it shows her, the husband that she's getting married to, who's Shamar Moore, who I love. He's a fantastic actor. He does Cyborg and all the new, he's the voice of Cyborg and all the new DC stuff. But it kind of makes you want to like these characters who are like Andrew said, you don't need them if the point of the wedding part is to get Sonic from A to B. You could have done it 1,000 different ways. So there's this whole volleyball scene in this movie that once you guys watch this, if you want to save this movie 10 minutes, 5 minutes, cut this scene out. Like, this was completely unnecessary. So I thought not only did the human interactions with the movie make it slower, but it made it just annoying to me. I was like, this is unnecessary.
I slouched in my chair for those parts.
I think my dad fell asleep during that part. So, but you might find that completely different. Again, this is our opinion, so don't get mad.
There were kids laughing to it.
That's what I'm saying. Every kid was laughing during the wedding scene. So I'm in the minority, I guess, but I'm like, dude, if you want to shave off 20 minutes, redo this part. So,
right.
Anything else you want to add about the wedding?
No.
Okay, the other part, and maybe we might disagree on this, is I think Sonic, I love Ben Schwartz, but Sonic's voice can be annoying. And things he can say can be annoying, but that's part of his charm at the same time. His character is meant to be aggravating. However, I thought in this movie, he's much more annoying than he was in number 1. Not with his voice, but like what he was saying and how he was reacting to things. Like in the very beginning, when he's dismantling the robbery, this is a drill. I'm like, are we doing like cheesy 1-bit lines? So I don't know. I dislike Sonic a little more in this movie at certain times than I ever did in number 1. Agree or disagree?
I thought it was fine. To me, I took it more as like it seemed like they were maybe trying to more make him not as violent, but like a kid's like Deadpool. But with his commentary and his cheesy jokes and stuff like that.
He should be 6 months. Oh no, how long? Dr. Robotnik's been in the mushroom thing for almost a year. It's like 200 something days. So at any point, Sonic should have matured, and I almost seemed like he went backwards. It was almost like he became more of a kid. I'm like, well, now you've had a year of being a kid with Tom and Maddie. You seem less mature than you were when you got there, and that's to me. I was finding like that does not compute with me.
I thought it was fine. I didn't really have a problem with it. But I can understand that though too. Like I could definitely.
So outside of the second act being completely, you could have rewritten that thing. Those are pretty much my biggest cons. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I will say though that again is a testament to like that part that had added on so much to the movie that when it got to. I didn't even think that, and we'll get to that finale part was going to happen. Dude. I thought the movie was going to end when, like, you know, people, like, make up and whatever, and we're going to start 3 with Robotnik as being, like, the victor from the first movie, but now we got to stop him and whatever. That's how much time that unnecessary stuff added that I was like, oh, my God, there's no way this movie's going to keep going on.
Yeah, they're drawing this out. Yeah, I'm like, wait, this 2 hours is getting close. So, but let's get into the pros for a little bit. I think this game definitely felt like a video game movie, and I consider that a pro. Like, there's some video game movies you can watch, and you're like, oh, this is a video game movie by name and name alone. This felt like, there were so many, like, little Easter eggs. Like, when his phone goes off, yeah. I was like, excellent.
I love that. That was the best part of the trailer.
In the trailer, you get to see the Robotnik bot. It looks like Eggman from the games. You know what I mean? You've seen that before. So I'm like, dude, this is ensconced in video game stuff. So I thought it was easily very video gaming.
I think the best part about video gaming, and I don't know if you've played it, but I think it's called like Sonic Adventure, the one for the GameCube, and it starts with you like running down the hill and there's like a truck chasing you and stuff.
I don't think I played it. Hey, once you went to Nintendo, I kind of stopped playing.
Well, in that game, you do play as like Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails, and I felt like this movie did a perfect job of showing off each person's specialties that made it feel like this is what makes him special in the game. You know, like Tails flies, he does his thing, he's got his gadgets, he's got his plane. Sonic's fast and he uses that to his advantage. Knuckles is quick, but his thing is more from like his strength and his power, and that's what he's for. And even when he starts doing the like pounding his knuckles into the thing to like climb up the side of the mountain,
when he slides on it.
That's like directly from the game that like you have to fly around and you go through certain parts, and I'm like, dude, that's cool as hell. Like seeing this stuff is super dope, and then even more making that into the relationship. Like Sonic is afraid of water, and then even when he does go underwater at one point, there's like an air bubble that comes up and he takes and he slurps it to give himself like more air. I'm like, they took so many things from the games that if they had again cut out the human stuff and added a little bit more of that would have been perfect. Like I loved all that stuff that they added. It shows that they really did have a fundamental understanding of like, you know, this is a video game movie. This is based off a video game. We're not just taking a property and doing whatever with the name of it. No, this is a movie that's based off of an existing whatever. Let's take a bunch of stuff from it and not see what sticks, but make it work.
No, I'm with you. I 100% agree. I wish they would have done more, like the snowboarding thing. That as soon as he did that, everyone know, like, he's gonna slide down this mountain just like we know Sonic does. So I wish they would have done more with that, but I'm glad we got what we saw. The second part that I think was one of a big pro was outside of the stuff we didn't like in the story that I thought could have been skippable. I like the story. I like the way Tails came in. I like that you get to find out what Knuckles' background is. I like how you discover A, how Robotnik gets out, and B, what his sinister plan is. I like that you get to know more about, I forget the owl's name. Longclaw?
Longclaw, yeah. It is Longclaw.
It is? Okay, you get to know more about why Sonic is who he is and what he has to do as the pupil of Longclaw. I like that you get to, when you watch the third act of this movie, you guys are going to know exactly what I'm saying, but I like the way the story progressed it, and I was like, dude, this is really cool. This is a cool Sonic the Hedgehog story.
I completely agree. Like, without the other stuff that, again, we said we didn't like, the story itself from, like, front to back was great. It made sense. I loved it. I thought it was absolutely cool, especially, again, you're right, seeing more of, like, why Sonic is alone by himself, why there is only one owl, explaining, like, Knuckles and where he comes from. And I love that it even has, and again, light spoilers, flashbacks of young Knuckles too and how he came to be. You get origin stories for like all these people.
Yeah, and the final thing, again, without spoiling anything, is the ending. The ending to me is it's a 10 compared to the rest of the movie. Which if this is a 10 and the first two acts are like here, it brings unfortunately it brings the overall score down. But that ending was one of the best endings I've seen for a movie like that in a long time.
Hands down. And I didn't even think that they were going to go with some of the choices they make, like especially what they do with Sonic. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, they're really putting all kinds of like really cool stuff in here that was dope to see on screen. And I loved what they were doing. And again, that ending made it feel like a video game.
Yeah, I was absolutely in love with it. So, those are my 3 pros and my 3 cons. Is there anything else you want to add on top of that?
The 2 things that I do want to kind of add, or actually 3 things that I do want to add on to it, is 1, Jim Carrey is amazing in this. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. I know.
I'd argue that he almost steals the show.
Yeah, I kind of want to say it again. Like, he steals the show. Every part that he's in is just hilarious. He's so funny. And there's just not enough I can gush about him. But 2, I loved Idris Elba as Knuckles, but I loved Tails the most. Tails was my favorite. I like Tails more than Sonic.
Played by Colleen O'Shaughnessy. Shaughnessy?
I don't know who that is, but I thought Sonic was the best. But 2, there is a post-credit scene, or 3, there's a post-credit scene. Make sure you stay to watch it. But how they did the credits when they made it like a video game, it looked...
They do that number 1 too.
Yeah, but again, just to see them
keep doing that... It's like a recap of the movie, right?
Yeah, it's like a recap in Sonic the Hedgehog, like Sega graphics where you just run around, whatever. I'm like, you know what? That's cool. You didn't have to do that. The movie's over. I had a great time. But sitting there watching that extra little bit, I was like, you know what? I think that's cool, and I definitely think it's worth mentioning because you don't have to do that.
You don't. And one of the things I do want to point out, and it's not a pro or a con, but maybe it's a light spoiler. What you find out about Sonic and Knuckles being roughly the same age, I do not understand why Knuckles sounds like he's 40 and Sonic sounds like he's 12, because they're supposed to be like the same age. I'm like, whoa, there's a big age gap, and I don't know where Knuckles comes in, because they still sound pubescent, and I'm like, so you got an 8-year-old, a 15-year-old, and this guy that sounds 40, but they're all supposed to be 20.
Well, it's like how like 16-year-olds now look like they're 32, and we still look like we're like
young boys, 28, young boys in a man's world. So yeah, so at the end of the day, those are some of the pros, those are some of the cons for Sonic. Overall, I mean, we don't give scores on the show. We don't give like 10s and 5s and stuff, but
I would say watch it.
I would say watch it. I would say, we were having this conversation earlier, I think Sonic 2 is the better video game movie, but Sonic 1 I think is the better movie, if that makes sense to anyone, if you're hearing this. But number 2 just has a lot of drag time, especially during the middle, which that is not where you want to lose people.
Right.
Because it starts off strong, it gets right into Robotnik and Knuckles. Too slow, at least for me. Slowed me down. Perfect. But then 3 was the fire ending. So
that's the perfect like kind of analogy. Is it's got like that Mario shaped mountaintop. It goes up, down right there, but then it comes right back up. And I don't want to say it goes down again because it ends on a very strong note, which is I really like. But that middle, or even just those few parts that are sparse between, I'm just like, I really don't care about this. And I was more excited when I thought that wasn't really going to be in the movie.
So do you like number 1 or 2 better?
I still think I like 2 better because I like all the video game elements they put into it. Yeah, it seemed like they just really loved working on this movie and people who appreciated the game, and I thought that it did show. You can't blame that or the other parts on, that's writers putting in whatever it is you have to make it that Hollywood movie. But the other people who are like, hey, this is a video game movie, I thought that showed through and through.
Yeah, I think number 1 is the better movie, but 2, as a fan, I think was awesome, and I think you should definitely go. It's worth. I don't know what your movie theater charges, but it's worth the $10 to go check it out. Just bring your family members with you. So leave your thoughts down below, guys. What you think of the movie if you've seen it, and if you've got any questions about it, leave it down below, and we'll answer them on the next episode. So let's move into riffing it up. And Andrew, I think you got first go on this one.
Yeah, so my riff is going to be on the House of the Dead remake. Now, that actually already released for Switch. I know it got beat up a little bit on reviews, especially because they said it didn't run too well. But it is actually going to be coming out now for the PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and the Stadia. And that comes out on April 28th. I believe it comes out at $24.99. Now, for any of those unfamiliar, again, this is a remake of the House of the Dead arcade game. So hopefully it runs better on the newer consoles. I'm actually really excited for it because, again, I don't remember the game being very long. I know you could probably beat it in like 40 minutes, but it's got multiple endings and different ways that you can play through it. I think an on-rail shooter that's of a good quality like that is something that I'm definitely in the mood for. That when I saw it, I was like, you know what? I'll play Lego for now, but I think this House of the Dead is going to be that's going to be my clear game, you know, like I'm going to play this, clear my head, and get me ready for my next, like, big game.
I just want it to be, because I mean, I've played enough Lego games where I know, we should have known that it wasn't going to be online co-op. I really hope this is, and I know it's been out for Switch, but I don't know. We've looked it up. Is this game supposed to be online co-op?
I know this House of the Dead doesn't have online co-op, but it does have split screen co-op. And I guess I can understand how it wouldn't have it because you have the two reticles going like wherever, and so there's like a lot of accuracy because that you have to be like pinpoint on this game. But I played. You know, Resident Evil actually has an older game. There's two of them. There's Resident Evil Dead Aim, Resident Evil Survivor, and there's actually a Resident Evil Survivor 2. And I think there's actually... Yeah, I think there's two. But they had them on console and not just an arcade game where you're playing with, like, you move around. Not like you would here, this is on rails. But when you go to shoot, it does have that flat reticle around that you're doing whatever. And I remember actually really enjoying those games for the time when I was younger that I'm like, okay, you know, why isn't there more of this as I'm growing up that I feel like this would be, I think it'll be fun. Hopefully it is.
Yeah, why, I don't know why, in a good, I think we realized this was, what, a Sega game?
Yes.
That, I don't know why there aren't more games, if it's, I mean, I'm not a developer, I don't know if it's easier to kind of remake these things, but the fact that there aren't more of these, I do not know it, because you show me, because we have a couple arcades in our town, and we go play like the Halo and the Jurassic Park one, but there was
not the same.
There was another Jurassic Park when you were showing me. I'm like, dude, I don't know why they just don't redo
Jurassic Park 2
a grip of these and then put them out, because I mean, fuck, I'd buy the goddamn package. So
yeah, I think at $24.99, I think that'll be a good price for a few playthroughs, and I think I'll have a lot of fun with it. I enjoy games like this, and I don't like when you go to an arcade, they don't really have stuff like this anymore. It's more things to like eat your fucking coins or do whatever, whereas these kind of did, but at the same time they were fun. You know, you got stuff like this, Area 51, the other Jurassic Park I was talking about, The Lost World 2, or do you remember, did you ever play the one like Time Cop where you're shooting and you have to, it's like reload and you have to push the little foot pedal.
Me and her were just playing that in Vegas the other day.
Yeah, there's some places you can go that will still have that stuff, and I immediately like flock to it. I love playing those games.
Excellent. Anything else you want to add on it?
Nope.
All right, so I wanted to point out, guys, from my riff is that IGN has a new show on YouTube running about 30 minutes a piece called Rogue Jam. Now, Rogue Jam, I'm actually going to take it from the IGN article itself and tell you guys what it's about. So, IGN and Rogue Games have partnered up to produce Rogue Jam, a brand new game jam that not only offers publishing deals to indie developers, but also $800,000 in total prize money that will be used to bring their games to life. Devs from around the world submitted their unreleased games late last year, and Rogue Jam panel of judges that includes IGN, EVP, and CCO Pierre Schneider and former Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé have spent the last couple months picking the best of the best. The winning games and developers, he's always had a weird name to pronounce. The winning games and developers will be announced beginning April 18th, and this watch guide will help ensure you don't miss a thing and can see some of the biggest and brightest indie games that may one day just become your new favorite. So if you guys aren't watching YouTube, Episode 1, Huge Potential, is on April 18th, so it's already aired. You can watch Episode 1 now. Episode 2 is on April 25th. Episode 3 is on May 2nd.
I think it's like every Monday or something.
Yeah, Episode 4 is on May 9th. Episode 5 is on May 16th. So I watched the first episode.
Me too.
And it's cool to see a reality show that's kind of based on video games finally. You see how many about cooking, got people doing cooking shows and all this other things, and this one, I mean, not saying one's better than the other, but it was really cool to see because there was about 5 to 10 games that they put on the chopping block that they looked at. You got to see these kind of cool looks at all these games. One of them that didn't make it was like the hip hop fighting game that I thought looked really, really cool.
I like that weird anime wrestling looking game.
Yeah, the
anime,
anime,
they said wasn't quite there.
So they look at these games and they kind of give these guys some real big hints because the judge panel is pretty big. It's Kimberly Point, Corbet, Reggie, we'll leave it there, Pierce Schneider, Chris Lee, Matt Casamassina, Messina, and Chris Archer. So, and they're all from different points of the business, and they look at all these different games and they give them kind of tips. They ask questions. It's almost like, what's the Shark Tank?
Yeah.
Like, what would you do if we got money for this? What would you do for money with this? So
Shark Tank without purchasing it, but
Yeah.
they do ask them like, okay, well, you like there's a couple of the games in there that are maybe design wise and in theory it shows like how it's gonna play, but the artwork's not there, and so that's a question. Well, what's your idea for the artwork? What are you envisioning? Because right now I'm looking at this and this looks kind of boring.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see how like who got picked. So out of the maybe 5 or 10 games that they showed, it shows the 3 finalists, and they were able to pick it. So check it out, guys. It's out on YouTube right now. Yeah, if I can leave the link down below, you guys can check that out. But I think it was really cool to finally see a show about gaming. And I mean, as much as we like IGN, it was kind of cool to see that IGN was kind of co-hosting it with Damon. So that was cool.
I just wish that they didn't make it so reality. Like Damon's like, well, ice to meet you, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, you wouldn't fucking say that.
Hey, the writers wrote that. The writers wrote that. Damon doesn't write his own line. So check it out, guys, and let us know what you think. So
he squealed like a girl in his dressing room when he heard that line because he wrote it.
The episode is running long, but I did promise that we would answer Talha's question. So our question of the week comes from Talha Kasim, and he writes, question, I know that you guys are into comics, but are both of you into manga as well? I personally am a manga person. I've got some Dragon Ball, One Punch Man, and One Piece volumes. IDK, I just enjoy manga more most of the time. What's your preference? Well, I had a burp coming. So we used to have, it's hard unless we're ordering stuff because I mean, we don't live in a city where you can actively just go to a store and buy manga without traveling to Vegas and getting it. We did once upon a time have a place called Hastings that did sell out all the time. And I remember the section kind of moved around a bunch, but I remember as a kid going in there and reading a couple. I never collected any though. I mean, I told Talha I'd wait for you to be back on the show because I figured mine and Geno answer would be similar. So do you read any manga?
I do have some, and I do actually collect them.
Okay, good. I figured as much.
I have like some of the bigger ones, like Full Metal. I have Cowboy. I do have a Dragon Ball. I have like the complete set for Death Note. I do enjoy reading them. I enjoy watching the shows kind of a little bit more just because you can take in a lot more and it's faster. But I do appreciate reading the mangas, especially because you can take a show. Obviously, it's got to trim some fat and cut out whatever. So then you're putting in the other pieces together, like, okay, maybe for this guy's motivation or something like that. So I do collect them, and I do kind of just buy, like, interesting things that I see, whenever I'm, like, out and about. I do enjoy some of the, like, cheesier romantic, like, I don't want to say like full blown like hentai ones or whatever, but but like Monster Musume, like the big titty monsters and stuff like that. Like I actually found that show to be very interesting and like the dynamic between everything that I liked reading the books, and I went through and read those ones as well, or even like Prison School. So some of the more like cheesier, like pervy ones. So I'll kind of go like both directions with it, where I have like the the serious stuff.
Hey, that's what they're there for,
but
right?
I do enjoy like the lighthearted ones too.
So, okay, I'm glad I waited for you then, because when your question inspired me to kind of look more into it, and because I do watch a lot more anime like than I ever did manga. So I do want to point out that I did find this app. If you guys are interested in it, it's called Manga Geek, and it's a free app that you can get on the Play Store. It does have ads in it every once in a while. Not a lot though, not enough that it was like frustrating. And so I started digging through it to see how good it was, and It doesn't have everything on there. So, like, for instance, I was looking up Dragon Ball. It doesn't have Dragon Ball on there. But I'm a huge fan of Attack on Titan. It's got Attack on Titan on there.
Right.
So I took Attack on Titan. I wanted to do one that I'm familiar with, and then a new one. I found this one called Tomb Raider. It caught my eye because of the name. And it's about this guy searching for these relics that the world changed in year, blah, blah, blah. These relics came through. These relics kind of grant people power. And this guy, at a certain point, gets tested by, like, this god. And he gets warped back X amount of years ago before the relics ever appeared. So all his mind and his skills are in his younger body. And now he's going to go try to collect all the relics again. I'm only on, like, book 3. I don't know if you still call them books.
It sounds cool.
So it's way dope. But what the app is able to do is able to give you, dude, there's tons. And I'll show it to you after this. There's a ton of them. But what you can do is you can actually save all your favorites to your, on your profile. And you can actually select high def. And you can just start, and it's a scroll through on your phone. So
that would make it super easy.
Yeah,
to read.
dude. So, but it's weird because Attack on Titan, I have to read right to the left, like you would a regular manga. But this one, I read left to right.
Oh, like American.
Yeah, like American. So, but there's a ton of stuff you can do on it, and you can save them. So, besides the ads, which I find being not that annoying, I think the app is pretty cool, and I've been doing it on my poop breaks, and I've been doing it in bed. I've been trying to fall asleep, and I've been using that. So,
that sounds pretty dope.
It is dope, but I'll show it to you before you leave here. But so I hope that answers your question. Andrew has way more answers for it, but I'm gonna get into it now. Thanks to you asking the question.
No, dope question. Thank you.
So, guys, that is the end of this lengthy episode 129. My name is Craig Perales. That is Mandrew Montemayor, and until next time, guys, cheers.
Cheers.
The one is 2001. So that's what I said. It was either like late 90s or early 2000s. So,
I've never seen that or Minority Report.
Minority Report, I would say that most people would say is the better movie. Tom Cruise and all that. But I think you'll like the one better, like the way I like the one better than Minority Report. It's fucking legit fucking... It's got Jason Statham in it and Delroy Lindo. Yeah, Delroy Lindo and Jason Statham. Yep.
I feel like we don't really get movies like that anymore. Like, you had, like, Rush Hour. Like, I fucking love Rush Hour 1 and 2. I even like the third one. I feel like the third one's the weakest one, but I arguably like
what's
two
the one
more
where
than
they
one.
throw the knife in the apple and she's eating it in the car and they throw it, it's like sticks in her mouth. But I get that in Bad Boys mixed up sometimes. Is that in Bad Boys or is that in Rush Hour?
It sounds like it's in Rush Hour, and I think that's the second one.
Yeah, it's I always forget that chick's name. But yeah, you should tell me when you're ready to watch this movie, dude, because I'd be down. And at the end, dude, I can't spoil the ending for you, but look, it only got a 5.9, but it's like.
So what is he doing? There's one bad one that goes around and kills the other same version.
So yeah,
of him.
so does
he get stronger from it?
Yeah. So what happens is one dude who was a cop, same as him, but in a different universe, I believe, has to end up hunting down himself in another universe. And they kill him or something. But when he does it, he finds out that when he kills one of himself, he becomes stronger. So he goes like kind of like AWOL, and he starts going through all the multiverses, killing them. So he gets down to the last universe, which is this one. And
that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. So now the two cops from his this other universe are trying to save him. But he's been noticing he's been getting stronger too. So then they eventually get into the battle and all. Dude, it's fucking dope.
Oh, okay. So that sounds pretty dope.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.